Welcome to the Just Asking channel. Today I would like to talk about ancient transatlantic and transpacific trade. There is a lot of evidence for this. We start with in 1933, José Garcia Payón, an archaeologist. Hello, my name is Maria. I like to talk about archaeological anomalies, especially those that don't fit into the current narrative. In 1933, archaeologist José Garcia Payón was digging in a pyramid in Mexico. And under 3 intact floor levels, he found a burial. And there was a lot of burial goods in this burial. And among them, he found a little terracotta head. Now, the strange thing about this terracotta head was that it looked distinctly Roman. So, how did this happen? We don't know, but there's been thermoluminescence tests, I think that's what they called, done to it. And it dates it to be between 900 BC to 1300 AD, which is a very long period of time, but it still puts it before it's pre-colonial. And the burial was dated to be about 1476 to 1510, somewhere there. So this is a distinct Roman terracotta figurine head found in Mexico that cannot have come after Columbus. We have other interesting things. So like if you go to Pompeii in Italy, the Roman city that was buried in ashes. Now on one of the walls in the houses there, they found a painting of a pizza. Now pizzas supposedly didn't exist then, but here's this pizza, and there's fruits behind it. And one of those fruits is a pineapple. And there's no way about it, it's a pineapple. Now also, if you go to Palazzo Massimo in Rome in Italy, where they have a lot of Roman mosaics, you'll find that one of those mosaics display a pineapple. Now this pineapple, some really clever experts had determined it's a pine cone, it's not the pineapple. But personally, I've never seen a pine cone with leaves sticking out at the end of it. I mean, it's ridiculous. No pine cones look like that. It's a pineapple. And pineapples are native to the Americas. At Guanabara Bay, outside Rio de Janeiro, they found amphoras. Amphoras are the storage jars of the ancient days that they stored olive oil and anything and everything that was liquid that needed to be transported. Now, the guys diving, one of them, his name was Marx, and he was later found to be smuggling out Brazilian gold coins and selling them, on the black market. So the Brazilian government decided to close this site, so you're not allowed to dive there. You have not been allowed to dive there since the 70s. So it's still debatable whether these amphoras were hoaxes or if they were actually real. Nobody really knows. If you go to the Museum of Anthropology in Mexico City, you'll find that there's a lot of figurines with beards. Like, this is weird, right? Native Americans don't have beards. And now, of course, these things are 3,000 years old. So these guys, the experts or the ones that refuse to accept that this could have happened, ancient trade and ancient contact, they say that, maybe they had beards in the old days and genetics, they lost the beards. This is not how genetics works. There's no way that in 3,000 years, suddenly no Native Americans would be wearing beards if they used to. It's not. This is people from the other parts of the world that were having beards. If you go to India, you'll find that in very old temples in India, there'll be goddesses carved in stone holding corn cobs, or corn ears, or whatever you like to call them, but corn with the leaves from the. Corn is native to Americas. They must have come to India somehow. Roman coins have been found in Venezuela and in the US of A. Let's see here. In the US of A, they've been found in the states of Maine, Texas, Alabama, and Illinois. The state of Arkansas, they found a Carthaginian coin that was pre-146 BC. How do you explain this? Well, of course, they always have some amazing explanations. So the expert says, well, it must have come with the ballast on the sailing ships that came over to the US from Europe and the old world. Nobody puts soil as ballast. You put in rocks as ballast in the sailing ship. So according to these guys, then these coins would have been stuck to the rocks somehow. And tell me, like whoever loaded those stones into the sailing ships wouldn't have taken this coin and said, oh, this is silver, I'm going to melt that. It's ridiculous to believe that this happened. And even worse, one of these coins were found in Illinois. So then they're trying to tell me that they took these ballast rocks from the east coast of the US of A and brought them to Midwest Illinois, where this coin fell off and somebody found it. Jesus, come on. Come up with a better explanation if you want to hide this stuff. In northern Alaska, they found Venetian glass beads from the 15th century. Also in northern Alaska, they found metal beads and a metal belt buckle that originates from China. And to this belt buckle, there was a leather strap attached. And that one has been tested to be from 600 century. How do you say that? 6th century? Now, although experts have determined that the beads and the buckle is much older. Okay, then we have the most amazing thing of all the finds. It's stone tools. Stone tools that are between 19,000 and 25,000 years old have been found in the United States of America on the East Coast. 3 of the sites are in Maryland, 1 in Pennsylvania, and 1 in Virginia. And in Virginia, that one is the most amazing. It's a stone knife made from French flintstone. So this is not something that it just looks like it was French. It's actually proven to be made from French flintstone. And this is amazing. And now they try to explain that away with it must have come up, somehow from France over to China, up north, and then across the Bering Strait, and down into the Americas, and all the way down to Virginia. But, according to them, it was Clovis first, so that's only 10,000 years ago. This doesn't make any sense. Also, up these northern lands, they have in Asia, they have not found this type of tools that are any older than 15,500 years old. So you have 4,000 years there to play with. Okay, so then we're going to have a look at plants. When the Europeans arrived in Polynesia, the Polynesians were already growing sweet potatoes. And sweet potatoes are natives of the Americas. When white people came to Peru, they found that they were already growing cotton there. And this cotton is still grown in Peru, but it turns out that this cotton is genetically linked to Africa, especially, and partially India. You think about that. It couldn't just have jumped, you know? In China, they found over 2,000-year-old peanuts. I think I mixed something up here. Yeah. In China, they found over 2,000-year-old peanuts. And peanuts are native to the Americas. 2,000 years ago, they must have traded with the Americas. Then we have turmeric. Turmeric is a native of Asia. Curcuma longa in Latin. They found in Peru as well the two native tribes. Let's see, they were called the Amahuaca and the Witoto. They were actually cultivating this turmeric. Where they got it from, nobody knows. But it's native to Asia. And then, of course, we come into the really interesting part, the genetics. The people of the Amazon, they don't only have Native American genes, they're also carrying Australian Aboriginal genes. Now let that sink in for a bit, right? Australian Aboriginal genes. Okay, so now this gets complicated for everybody who wants to explain all this stuff away, because now they come up with some great explanations. So apparently these Australian Aborigines walked all the way up the Asian coastline, all the way up to the cold areas, and then crossed the Bering Strait and into North America and down to South America, right? Of course not. It's ridiculous. There's no peoples up above PNG that have this same gene. And of course, if they travel there over a few thousand years, they would have to mix with other people. It always happens. And then the next one is, in North America, this Australian Aboriginal DNA doesn't exist. So then I heard this fantastic explanation. I love this one, right? So they figured that the white people in North America, when they came, they shot all the Native Americans that had Australian Aboriginal DNA in the blood. I don't know how they did it, because to me, if you sit on a horse and ride off like that, it's very hard to tell if you've got Australian Aboriginal genes or not. But apparently they could tell, and when like, that guy particularly. I mean, it's ridiculous, of course. There must have been ancient trade routes that somehow got forgotten during the medieval ages in Europe and Africa and China, when China closed up. That's the only explanation for all this. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and maybe buy me coffee or go in on our Patreon page. Thank you so much.